camera or shotgun? The choice is yours. Join Sunny as she takes you hunting for wild boars. Scores of wild boars frenetically run through the dense forest. A true hunter's dream. And now we will show it to you. We will experience unforgettable hunting adventures. Crossing 4 continents in search of the world's finest hunting grounds, we will travel to Africa and Australia, where wild pigs roam free. We will stalk for trophy boars in Europe, and will take part in hunting batus in Asia. Share the thrill of the furious wild boar's encounter with the fearless dogs. Feel the excitement. Feel the danger. Share the adventure. Join the gathering of boars and hunters.
In today's episode, you will witness an extremely dynamic driven hunt of wild boars in the Stara Planina forests. The hunting destination that is favored of thousands of Europeans is located in Bulgaria. Our team will show you the 2-day lady luck of 12 hunters that will be successful in taking down 32 boars, including 5 golden medalists with enormous and massive trophy tusks. We start our hunting at one of the most popular locations for driven hunt in the Alenski Balkan. Weather is fine and we are about to enjoy 2 nice hunting days. The hunting region here is enormous and one needs more hunters in order to organize successful driven hunts. Hunters are driven by 4x4 light military multi-purpose off-road vehicles to their posts. All around the forest we can see the consequences of a recent storm. It is not hard to imagine the strong winds that crush the branches and the trees. Anyway, now everything is calm, and the only consequences to be seen by the hunters after the natural disaster are the crushed trees in the forest. Nevertheless, this proved to be a huge problem for the drivers, since the fallen trees hindered their movement and made it almost impossible. Obviously, the driven hunt will be performed mainly with the assistance of the dogs, and the human participation will be minimized. We can see that all participants in the driven hunt, dogs as well as drivers, move mainly along the road. In front of us, in the ambush, several dogs pass right along the road. Obviously, the 4-legged hunters do not like moving in the pathless shrubs as well. We feel that the driven hunt is failing. In the distance in front of us, we can hear only the remote shouting of the drivers. And this dog obviously has already found a young boar. We have almost given up the idea of seeing wild boars. Suddenly, behind us in the shrubs, we hear the rustling of a moving animal. It stops and goes and moves straight facing the driven hunt. It is probably some adult boar that is trying to pass by facing the drivers, but it did not get lucky and came across us. The boar was taken down with a single shot. Moreover, it is not just taken down, but fell abruptly like a cut tree. The firearm of the young hunter is ideal exactly for the circumstances in view of the close distance. In the past, the hunters were using mainly the spherical bullet and the cylinder-barreled shotguns. Thanks to the technological advancement, the creation of the non-smoke gunpowder and the shock-barreled shotguns, people started seeking for technological solutions to improve the ballistic indicators of the shotgun bullet. In the end of the 19th century, the German constructor Brennecke created an effective ribbed shotgun bullet whose construction has not been modified until today because of its effectiveness. And it is being used as a base for developing almost all types of gauge shotgun bullets. As we saw, almost a century later, the invention is working flawlessly in the skillful arms of the hunter. The driven hunt continues. The hunters are given a lift to a forest region that is a bit more opened up where the prevailing trees are old. Here you can also see the consequences of the heavy storm. Huge trees have fallen in one piece. The wind strength should have been disastrous. At one turn, an incautious wild boar appears after the cars pass and is immediately spotted by the hunters. One of them decides to try out his luck and gets back on the road. It takes 2 shots, and we undertake the pursuit of the animal. Soon we discover the blood and track the trails to the animal itself. This is a nice wild boar and would be a great trophy for the hunter, but we do not have time for taking pictures, so bring the boar down the road and rapidly head towards the cars in order to make up for the lost time we need for the driven hunt. The ambushes are located along a small brook in the forest. Soon we arrive at the place. One of the driver's dogs approaches us as if it is asking us for help. A wild boar has almost slaughtered it. After it got our compassion and encouragement, the dog heads back along the road to the hunter base from where the driver started, and soon it passes by the next post where is the skillful young hunter with shotgun. Its achievement from the previous driven hunt was the reason for the acknowledgement on behalf of all hunters in the group. Its senses are alert and its attention is on the edge. The adrenaline after the hunting success it experienced is still in its blood and would keep it alert for a long time. At the neighboring ambush, there is another young hunter. The 2 brothers are actually the youngest hunters that came hunting here during this season. He is also armed with shotgun charged with the bullets invented by Brennecke and seriously undertook his task. He also wishes to prove himself before the experienced hunters in the group. The action starts, and soon the hunter will have the chance of trying out his skills. Would he prove fast and precise enough in order not to lag behind the perfect performance of his brother? The first shot misses the aim, but the second one is a real chef d'oeuvre. Classical firing at a wild boar that is frenetically running along the road. But did it hit the boar in the vital area? We do not know whether the firing was lethal until we hear and see the boar that is throwing itself at about 20 meters along the slope in the thick forest. Here comes the Lady Luck Doer. The restless pursuer has been at the mere 100 meters behind the boar. It is as if the dog knows that its mission was successfully completed and while waving its tail starts off to catch another track. This is one hell of a boar, right? Who is the lucky one, I wonder? It is huge. It is enormous. It is okay. See how it laid down and lifted its feet. After the natural disaster, the roads are broken and almost impassable. Even the off-road military machines have difficulties coping with the slope and the mud at one and the same time. After many of an effort and virtuous maneuvers, our driver manages to get us out of the critical place, and we successfully continue along the road to the hunter's shelter. We have laid the shot boars on the meadow. We check the result of the driven hunts during this day. This is the total of 24 squeakers, 15 wild boars, 5 of which have very nice trophy tusks. It proves that the youngest hunters have achieved the best results. They hold the 2 largest boars with the best tusks. The wide, massive tusks are typical for the Bulgarian forest wild boars that eat mainly acorns. These are one of the best trophies available. It is not by chance that the former world record is Bulgarian. In the next morning, the weather is as nice as it was in the previous days. The forecasts of the drivers is very promising. They have started from the hard passages through the trees that felled as a result of the storm, and now together with the dogs, they are impatient to start pursuing the wild boars that are hiding in the forest. The majority of the dogs are of a breed that is well known for its wild boar hunting qualities. The Bulgarian tricolor beagle, or the so-called Palash. The official history of the breed, for example, the first written sources, date back to the beginning of the 5th century. From then on, the purpose of the beagle's breeding has not been modified. Throughout this time, the beagle served as a reliable helper in hunting down the small game. The beagles are always in a group, and they walk after the trail, scaring the small animals to make them jump in front of the hunters thanks to their specific barking. The beagle has been praised because of its sharp hearing, smell, and perseverance in hunting the game down. Its rearing and training for hunting wild boars date back to the 50s of the last century, when the hunt for finding food was replaced by the sports trophy hunt, and the driven hunt is one of the most interesting hunting adventures that the hunters would like to experience, especially in the case of having beagles among their dogs. Three very good hunters from Russia would like to take part in today's driven hunts. This support by excellent shooters in the rows of the Bulgarian hunters will additionally ensure that the wild boars will not make it out of the drive. While we are waiting for the driven hunt to begin, we see several dogs moving back and forth without any direction that perplexes us. The only explanation for the behavior of these dogs is that they are not taking part in the driven hunt, but are homeless dogs making their living with hunting in the forests. Probably they used to be hunters in the past, but ran away from their masters, and now they rely on their hunting skills to find food. After the precise firing, the offspring falls on the ground, and the dog pursuing it jumps up to tear it apart. We are thoroughly confused why the dog following the boar did not bark. Soon its feast is shattered with the other 2 dogs that we saw earlier on. We have to scare away the hungry animals from the game. After the driven hunt ends, we will tell the drivers about the homeless dogs so that they take them away. We are watchful to keep the offspring from the hungry dogs. It seems that this driven hunt will give us only this squeaker. We've almost given up the idea of seeing another boar when we hear the distant rumbling of the Steyr engine, and at the same time a huge wild boar crosses the road. Enormous! We just got the following situation. I hear you, coming and unload the rifle, and at the same time an enormous boar passes the road. I lift the gun and at the same time I feel it is empty. And where did the driven hunt take place? We didn't hear anything. While we are waiting for the next drive to begin, one dog gets to like the hunters and decides to be his guest. This could ruin our chances of seeing the wild boars, and we have to see it to the end of our ambush, hoping that it will walk away. The driven hunt has already started, and someone even got lucky to get a shot. While seeing it off with his look, the hunter is surprised by the unexpected appearance of a roe deer from the nearby bushes. These things also happen in the forest. Here comes the pursuer led astray. It is obviously a young dog that is not used to distinguishing the trail of the red animal from the one of wild boar. During the next driven hunt, we will be along the ridge of the mountainous uphill. This is an open space that makes it possible to follow a large area. It would become a problem only if the wild boars head directly through us, because we will have nowhere to hide from their tusks that are as sharp as razors. The driven hunt started somewhere in the lowlands, and the first pair of a dog and a wild boar already appear in front of us. The precise firing ends the pursuit. A squeaker runs along the field at about 200 meters, but the aim is so small that it is unachievable even for his sniper's skills. But one squeaker jumps from the nearby shrubs and runs ahead, trying to avoid the merciless backside. This is in vain. The next precise firing comes out, and this is the second wild boar at this ambush. A shot in the heart. It is not easy to achieve this shot when the boar is at full throttle in the open space. The pursuer comes to get the well-deserved praises. Good, my boy. Well done. See his bitten nose? How does it get the smells? The first firing was produced without the hunter being able to mislead the aim, but the rapid correction in leading the jumpy boar was accurate, and the second firing proves lethal. After the end of the driven hunt, the driver's stare arrives, and the hunters combine their efforts to load the heavy animal. Victor is one of the 3 Russian hunters that are the guests of the driven hunt. He gets the baton with one of the shooting teams. At 200 meters further down the road, he will meet his friend Vanya. Both of them are incredible shooters, and they are frequently ahead in the scores when it comes to the acquired trophies. Let us see what Lady Luck has to offer them this time. Everybody has at least one video operator nearby that would also like to shoot the best firing during these driven hunts. The terrain is very broken and rugged, and the driven hunt starts from the top of the neighboring slope. According to the expectations, the wild boars hiding in the dense shrubs will try to run away in the valley, behind them where a small brook passes by. The water has saved the adult wild boars from their 4-legged pursuers more than once, as it washes the trails of the experienced warriors. Wild boars, especially the old ones, love these places with abundant food, vegetation, and running water, so that the chances of seeing some large boars are great. Hunters are aware of that and are watchful. We expected that the wild boar will keep running down the brook, but it fell in the gorge and stopped moving. The second bullet jammed. See the notch from the firing pin. Probably a second one was not needed. That is why it got jammed. The adrenaline is all over me. There is adrenaline. You are a good shooter. You shoot once and it proves enough. Just as video reloads, we hear a real conundrum coming from the forest. After the end of the driven hunt, we go to check the first wild boar. It has fallen in the gully, and it is difficult to distinguish it from the branches broken down by the storm. We will have to make it to the boar wading in the brook and the thick cover of branches and shrubs. Let's hope that it will not jump off its place. It is good, it is good, it is huge. Well done. The drivers congratulate the hunter on the good job despite the hard work for taking the boar out. They are really happy when the hunters manage to get such a nice trophy animal because their work and living in the future depend on the good hunt in the hunting reserve. You need 6 people to get the huge body of the wild boar outside the gully.
Пришли.